Welcome back to our podcast, Let's Talk About Labor. This podcast aims to help farmers and ag businesses connect with other ag businesses, specifically to hear and learn about their experiences and challenges related to labor and the strategies they have used to overcome these challenges. We talk about various topics such as U.S. temporary foreign visa programs, mechanization and automation, and worker recruitment and retention strategies, among other topics. Different agencies and organizations have partnered with us to make this podcast possible, including the Southern Risk Management Education Center, GAP Connections, the U.S. Department of Agriculture SCRI program, and the Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development. This podcast will not be possible without the participation of farmers and ag businesses. My name is Margarita Velandia, and I'm a professor in the Department of Agricultural and Resource Economics at the University of Tennessee. Becky?
And I'm Becky Bowling. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Plant Sciences and the statewide turfgrass extension specialist here at the University of Tennessee.
So, we would like to introduce our guest for today's episode, Mr. John Puryear, owner of Puryear Farms in Gallatin, Tennessee. Welcome, Mr. Puryear, and thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Certainly, Margarita. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Great. Mr. Puryear, why don't you tell us a little bit about your landscape business, including the number of years you have been in business, the services you provide, the number of employees you have, and the type of employees you have in your operation?
Certainly. My wife, Laura, and I started this business in 1991 after graduating from University of Tennessee, Knoxville, together with degrees in ornamental horticulture and landscape design. We returned to my family farm to start a nursery here on the north bank of the Cumberland River in Gallatin. And that's a community that my family's been a part of for nearly 200 years. Our dream was to start a nursery on this family farm where I grew up. We started on a shoestring budget with one truck and a couple of helpers, and we planted our first crop that year. Although we have always continued to produce nursery stock from this land, I quickly realized that we would need to provide other landscape design build services in addition to just growing plants. So for over 3 decades, we have experienced steady, strong growth as we have expanded into irrigation, lighting, property maintenance, and a wide range of other landscape service offerings. Today, we have over 120 employees during the peak season, and we generate a little over $13 million in annual revenue, servicing primarily Sumner County and the immediately surrounding areas, that is, the northeast quadrant of Nashville, Tennessee. All that growth over the years has been governed by one critical factor, and that's labor. We do have an outstanding company culture based on 7 core values and a vision and mission statement focused on employees. We're very selective about who we hire, and even more selective about who we allow to remain after their 90-day probationary period. That focus on quality of people has been the primary contributor to our success, but it has also been the one thing which has restricted our rate of growth during the periods when we could have grown faster if we were willing to lower our standards. When I first started in business almost 35 years ago, I thought I was a farmer in the business of growing nursery stock. It's very clear to me today that I'm a businessman in the business of growing people. Labor issues are absolutely paramount to me.
So let's talk a little bit more about those challenges then that you've faced with labor over time, because I think many people are facing these challenges more and more in the industry. So can you talk a little bit more about challenges related to labor availability, worker recruitment, and retention? We'd also like to hear your overall opinion about some of the unique labor challenges that landscaping businesses in Tennessee and the U.S. are currently facing.
Well, the face of labor in our industry has changed a lot over the past 30 years. You know, when I was growing up in the 1970s, most everyone in my high school class was engaged in some form of agricultural farm work to earn extra money. Small family farms were still viable in those days, and young men and women gained experience doing hard work and operating a variety of machinery. This was my recruitment pool for labor in the early years. The small family farms had all but disappeared, and young people don't have the exposure or opportunity to do that type of work. Generally speaking, today, If I hire a young recruit, their past work experience might include fast food or retail. I long ago decided that we need to only purchase automatic transmission vehicles. A standard transmission vehicle has a short life expectancy here in my business because no one's ever even been exposed to that type of equipment. A few years ago, the governor of Tennessee implemented a Drive to 55 program to make continuing education beyond high school available free to everyone. And he did this because he recognized that the high-tech jobs of the future would require more than basic high school diploma. The challenge in the landscape industry has been to reinvent ourselves so that we are creating long-term career opportunities with a pathway to success and comfortable retirement. In my opinion, the primary reason for growth in a company should not be to solely benefit the equity owner of the company directly. It should be to create a continuing pathway of growth, advancement, and career opportunities for every person in the organization. We have become a destination company for employees.
Great. So now let's talk. Why don't you talk to us about the top three strategies? And you touched on that a little bit already, but let's talk about those top three strategies you have used to overcome those challenges. List those strategies one by one and explain them to us in detail.
Certainly, if you're going to create a destination company, if you're going to create a place where people feel like they can retire from this company with benefits and earn a good living, support their family, and stay long term, then you have to show them a pathway. And so we created a very detailed career ladder for our employees, which clearly states what qualifications and achievements are needed to advance to each next rung on the ladder. We also provide extensive training to help those who show the initiative to pursue those goals. If you're going to ask somebody to take a test, then you need to have an entire training classroom set up to make sure that they learn the information rather than expecting them to organically absorb it from the internet or wherever. We developed a wage calculator which fairly assigns compensation based on a systemized, open, and transparent approach to calculating their wages. If a person wants to earn more and advance in the company, they are shown a clear path of expectations and given the tools to pursue those goals. And they're shown exactly on the spreadsheet how their wage is valued and come up with. So it's not subjective, it's entirely objective. And the final thing is that we're continuing to explore new initiatives in automation. We don't view those initiatives as a means of replacing labor. We see them as a means of increasing the throughput and productivity per man or woman so that their earning potential is increased.
So, these are great. People learn a lot from their successes, and I think these are really useful strategies. But we also know that people learn from mistakes. So, can you share with us experience of success or failures that you've experienced while trying to address labor challenges in your operation that you think would be useful for other landscaping businesses to hear?
Oh, yeah. I've learned a lot more from my mistakes than I have from my successes. And every time I make a big mistake, I chalk it up to my student loan debt, ongoing student loan debt, where I'm continuing to pay for my education. I would say that the greatest learning opportunity for me came during the Great Recession of 2009 through 13. 13, 14, I'm not sure when it ended. I just know it was a long, extended, terrible period. I managed the business in more of an autocratic role and made most of the important decisions myself. I played my cards close to my chest and I only shared what information I deemed really necessary. Financially, those were scary times, and I didn't feel like I needed to burden all of my employees with bad news when it came about. However, that is sort of a paternalistic approach that a parent takes with children when trying to protect them from bad news. So in 2015, I had a heart attack, and that event caused me to completely shift how we run this company. We shifted the company culture to a very collaborative, open book management style where people have clearly defined job descriptions and roles and responsibilities. In short, we became a team of adults working together to achieve common goals. And I must say that the results have been nothing short of amazing as we've grown from a small company, barely profitable, of about 3.5 million size to a very highly profitable $13 million company with strong systems and processes in just a 10-year period.
Mr. Puryear, these have been all a very illuminating experience for us to learn all the things that you have gone through, the strategies you have used. So I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to talk to us. And I guess we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you, Mr. Puryear.
Thank you.